least 3 years.
Yeah, they said 5.
Hello, hello, hello. We are live. We are live
Hello.
on the Mental Health Hour. Hello, wherever you're listening from. Hello, Love Bay family. Welcome to the Mental Health Hour. My name is Dr. Tapo. And for those of you who follow Love Bay on social media, you know that today is my last day presenting on the Mental Health Hour. I was just saying, I can't remember if I've been doing this for 4 years or so, but I know it's definitely longer than 3 years. I think I started during the pandemic.
Mm.
Um, I remember during the pandemic, or maybe just a little bit before, getting a lot of messages from listeners across the globe who are really struggling with the isolation, with everything that the pandemic brought on, relationship issues, unwanted weight gain,
Mhm.
boredom, depression, anxiety. So for me, Love Bay will always be something. When I think about the pandemic, Love Bay will be like a bright spot during the pandemic because it was an opportunity. I'm one of those people who was living alone at the time. And
Yeah.
so the isolation was real and huge. And it was really nice to be able to log on to the mental health hour and know that across the globe, really, people were connecting. We were talking about our mental health. We were supporting each other. So yeah, it's bittersweet, but very
Yeah.
exciting to introduce Felicia. Welcome, Felicia.
Thank you so
Fischhoff.
much. Thank you.
Felicia, welcome to the Mental Health Hour.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
And we said today we're talking about my last topic because I was trying to think like, what do you talk about
Yeah.
on your last show? And I reached out to Felicia and I said, I think I want to drive one thing home.
Mm.
Healing is mandatory. You've got to heal. It's not
Yes.
something you should push aside. It's not
Mhm.
something you should ignore. It's not something you should neglect.
Yes.
Healing is mandatory.
Mm.
So we're here today. We're talking about healing, making your mental health a priority. But
Mhm.
before we dive in, I always say the mental health hour, we're educating each other, we're raising awareness, we are not replacing your practitioner.
Mhm.
Even if we're licensed, we do not replace your practitioner. Still get and seek help from somebody who's qualified within your city, town, village,
Yes.
wherever you are.
Mhm.
So, just that disclaimer. And something else we're doing today, and not just us, but all of our Love Bay family, we're doing a Love Bay scholarship drive. Now,
Yes.
listen very, very carefully. The Love Bay Scholarship Drive is an opportunity for you to make a really important and positive impact in some young person's life, right? So every year, Love Bay has this event. In the summer, they invite youth, young people, powerful speakers. I can say powerful speakers because I was one of them last year. And
Amazing.
give away scholarships to people going into college, into university. And this is your opportunity to be a part of that. So, for the next week or so, anytime you log into Love Bay Radio, you're going to be hearing about our Love Bay Scholarship Drive because we really need you to partner with us on this. We need you to donate, donate, donate. Our goal is $5,000 so we
Woo.
can give several scholarships to young people. We don't just want to give
Mm.
one young person, we want to give as many as we can. So, our goal between now and July the 12th Okay. So don't think, well, I didn't give last night or whatever. You have until the 12th of July to give
Mhm.
so that Love Bay can award these scholarships to deserving people. So you're going to be hearing a lot about our Love Bay scholarship drive, and we're inviting you to partner with us. So, how do you give on PayPal? We are on PayPal, and we're saying PayPal because some of you all are in Germany. In where's Lisbon? Where's Lisbon? In Lisbon, I don't know where that is, but that's what popped in my head. Lisbon, I think Lisbon is Portugal, is it? I think so.
Somewhere in Europe.
Yeah, and we've had people write in from China, from India. We've had people write in from Brazil, from Germany, from South Africa, Nigeria, from even Zimbabwe, which is where I come from, definitely from the Caribbean. We've had people write in from across the globe
Wow.
asking us questions about their mental health. So we're sharing our PayPal with you, which is at Love Bay, LUVBAY Radio on PayPal. Or if you go onto our website, lovebayradio.com, you will find the information you need to give to our Love Bay Scholarship Drive. Okay, so I've said all that. Let's meet Felicia. I have so many questions for her.
Oh my gosh.
So welcome,
Thank
welcome,
you.
welcome, welcome.
Thank you so
I just
much.
wanted to get all of that out of the way so we can focus on you now.
Aw. Thank
So
you.
welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Um,
Tapo.
I'm really excited that we get to do this at least
Yes.
on my last show. I feel like I already know, like, the mental health hour will be in safe hands,
Thank
competent
you.
hands, compassionate hands. One thing I've always driven home is that
Yeah.
compassion, especially when we're talking about healing. You have to have
Yes.
compassion for yourself and
Absolutely.
for other people. So I know that they will still have that voice reminding them
Yes.
about compassion.
Yes.
So here's my first question for you.
All right.
Why do you want to do the mental health show? Like, what's inspiring you to take this work on?
Yeah. I mean, I think that I've always been a very community minded person. And when I saw this opportunity, I'm like, oh, what a great opportunity to pull community together. I mean, Dr. Tapo, firstly, I just want to honor you for spearheading this for the last, what, 5 years, I think it was said. Right? And I think that you've created a beautiful community here. And I think that this is what is needed to have these difficult conversations, to keep the conversations going, because I think sometimes we don't talk about it enough. And so when I heard about this opportunity, I'm like, I'm just going to shoot my shot. And I was really shocked and taken aback when I got the call that I would be the next host. And trust me, I don't take it for granted. I want this to be a platform for us. This is always going to be for us. And yes, I will be driving home that message about compassion, because I'm very big on self compassion,
Mhm.
and because we're too hard on ourselves
Yeah,
as a people.
yeah,
So
yeah.
mhm.
And something I always say is one of the reasons we're hard on ourselves is because we're hard on other people as well, or vice versa.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, when you're in a room and you think everybody's judging you, you're probably looking around and judging some folks too. So you internalize those things, right?
Yeah.
So if you can be compassionate with other people, you can be compassionate with yourself. And if you can
Absolutely.
be compassionate with yourself,
Hmm.
extend that compassion to other people as well. So here's
Absolutely.
a question for you.
Hmm.
We know why you want to do this, and
Yes.
community, like, we use the word family on Love Bay quite a lot. And I
Yes.
don't even know when we started doing that, but I can say it feels like that.
Yeah.
Like, thank you to the people who started Love
Mhm.
Bay Radio. I mean, they have built. I thank you for giving me that honor, but it's really not mine. It's
Yeah.
really, really not mine. There's hard working people behind the scene who started Love Bay Radio, who
Yes.
drive Love Bay Radio, who bring on the right people onto Love Bay
Yes.
Radio. So,
Mhm.
what are your qualifications?
All right. So I am a registered psychotherapist.
Mhm.
I run my own practice here in Markham, also soon to be Toronto. And yeah, I work with individuals and families and couples. And, I guess I would say that my big focus is providing accessible services to our community, because a lot of times we don't take in, the cultural considerations, especially as it pertains to our mental health. And so that is something that I try to bridge, a gap that I try to bridge with the work that I do in providing that accessibility, so that, our culture never gets lost in translation,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
we can have that foundation that, okay, I'm in good hands. Let's go. Let's do this.
I love that word access. I
Yeah.
really love that word access because, like, you're right. Like,
Mhm.
there's so many barriers and challenges to
Yeah,
good quality mental health care. And part of
absolutely.
that is when you can access it, the
Hmm.
people offering it don't really understand who you are, where you're coming from, your culture, your
Hmm.
values, that kind of thing. So
Absolutely.
I'm really again grateful that Love Bay created this platform because we
Hmm.
really celebrate uh, our cultures as Black people, but not only that, but our cultures as Canadians, as
Yeah.
women, as whatever you identify as. You
Hmm.
have access to something on Love Bay Radio.
Yes.
And speaking about access, I'm going
Hmm.
to bring it right back to the Love Based Scholarship Drive
Yes.
because this is about access as well. Like, why are we giving these scholarships? It's for young people who
Hmm.
have a dream that they need to access. And so by
Yeah.
donating to this cause, you are increasing access for young people to resources. Like, you can give $20, $30, whatever, and you
Hmm.
might think it's not a lot, but it actually is,
Adds up.
especially in this economy. Every little bit helps. So
Hmm.
please increase access to these young people through our
Yeah.
scholarship drive.
Hmm.
Okay, so 5 questions with Felicia. Let's do this. Okay, Felicia, number one,
Mm.
and keeping in mind the topic of today is healing is mandatory.
Yes.
Healing is mandatory. You don't get to stay traumatized. You
Mm-mm.
don't get to stay depressed. You don't get to stay anxious. You don't get to stay in whatever mess you're in.
Yeah.
Healing is mandatory.
It is. It
And
is.
so here's my question for you,
Hmm.
Felicia. First
Yes.
question: what's one misconception about mental health that if you had a magic wand, therapists like asking the magic wand question? I
Yes. I
know,
love that question.
I know. We love to ask our patients, if you had a magic wand
Hmm.
to fix your life or to fix the situation or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm asking Felicia, if you had a magic wand,
Yeah.
what one misconception about mental health would you fix?
I would fix the misconception that we have to wait until it gets really bad
Okay.
before we address it. So I feel like we're always waiting for the shoe to drop, the crisis to happen before we seek out help, when we're
Mhm.
not able to function the way that we want to function. But really, the truth is that we need to be proactive, right?
Mhm.
We do always think about the physical health first. So we think, oh, we need to exercise, and oh, we need to, eat healthy as a way to prevent, illnesses and disease. And we need to think about that also for our mental health, because
Mhm.
literally our mental health is our wealth, right? And everything
Yeah,
is connected. When our mental health is not doing well,
yeah,
it's like a domino effect, right?
absolutely.
And everything tumbles, right?
Mhm.
And so, I think that would be the myth that I'd want to bust.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think something we've talked about is how you can't, like you said, it has a domino effect. You
Hmm.
can't separate your mental health from your physical health, from your emotional health, from your spiritual health, even your social health.
Yes.
Like it's all tied in. So if you're not looking after your mental health, if you're not
Hmm.
getting the healing that you need,
Hmm.
it'll start to impact absolutely everything.
Everything.
Thank you for that. So, as you take over the mental health hour,
Yes.
what's your vision for its next chapter?
Oh my goodness. So I definitely put a lot of thought into it, obviously.
Mhm,
And I just realized that I wanted to make sure that there's something for everybody.
mhm,
And so the way that I'm breaking it down is the first week on the mental health hour, I'm kind of calling it like She Speaks. And so
mhm.
that's everything women's mental health, from,
Oh,
parenting to identity to health challenges that we may face. And so getting speakers to really help us talk about those things and tackle these issues together. And then the second Tuesday of every month is going to be called Barbershop Tuesdays.
okay.
So this is for our men, because
Mhm,
I feel like we don't talk about mental health enough as it pertains to men. And so I'm going to have male therapists with me. I'm going to
mhm,
have just, men from the community as well. And I'm really looking forward to being the princess of the hour, and really just letting the men take the floor and talk about
mhm,
issues that impact them, that
mhm,
impact our
mhm.
community,
Yeah,
in a very real and tangible way.
yeah.
The third week, it's all about psychoeducation. I'm calling
Mhm,
that the insight hour, and
mhm,
so what piece, gold nugget, can we bring to the
mhm,
table that maybe we wish our community knows more about? And so getting professionals, or even for myself, I'll talk about, some sort of insight to really help to
mhm.
equip our community. The fourth Tuesday, I'm calling it Real Talk.
No.
And so this is where all gloves are off. We're going to have
Mhm,
just some real heart to heart conversations in a panel, to discuss, things that we see that come up that we really feel like, again, our community needs to talk about, but in just a real and raw kind of way. And if there's
mhm,
ever a fifth Tuesday in a month, which there are a few, I'm calling that Wild Card Tuesdays, and it's just
mhm,
that, it's a wild card. Maybe I'll
mhm,
have, our listeners vote in for something, or maybe if I can get a special guest to come and speak to us, I'll do so. But really, that one is up for grabs.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's I'm going to be tuning in for sure. And here's the thing,
Hmm.
just because it's She Speaks doesn't
Yes.
mean, I mean, if you're a man,
Yes.
you're a dude, there's a woman in your life, it's worth listening in because
Absolutely.
I mean, men are always talking about women are so confusing. And frankly, us women are very, very, very confused by men. But maybe this is what we need, like
Yeah.
to be the fly on the wall.
Yes.
If you're a man listening into what women are saying,
Yeah.
if you're a woman listening into what men are saying, and coming in with that mind to learn, to
Hmm.
develop understanding.
Yes.
Remember that compassion piece. I think that's important. So it sounds really exciting. I love the
Yeah.
way that you've arrange that. I'm
Thank
like, oh, see, the mental health hour has already gone to the next level,
Oh.
right? Which is the point, right?
Oh,
Like you
thank
bring
you.
in new blood, that means you got new ideas, new territory to discover. So it sounds really interesting, really exciting,
Thank
and
you.
I will be tuning in for sure to
Yay.
listen to that, especially the men's one, because I'm telling you,
Yes.
like, men confound me.
Yeah, right?
And I'm a psychoanalyst.
No
So,
pressure, guys. No pressure.
okay. So, next question.
Yes.
Back to that topic of healing.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how do you personally make space for healing in your life?
Yes, absolutely. I see healing as multifaceted. Um,
Hmm.
so whether it's my spiritual life, that's very important to me. And research would show that our spiritual life is very important to our
Hmm.
mental health, to our overall health and
Yeah.
well-being. And so I definitely draw on that. I also have my core people. Thankfully, they're all therapists, which is great. But yeah, I when I'm going through those really, really, really difficult days,
Hmm.
I do lean on my people for support. Uh,
Hmm.
I also love cuddles with my two little boys. They are my
Hmm.
everything. I love them. So, sometimes I'll have a long day and I just can't wait to go home and give them a snuggle.
Hmm.
That's my favorite thing in the world. And then I also have my own therapist because I
Hmm.
believe all therapists need to have a therapist. So
Oh,
I make
yeah,
sure that
absolutely.
I have a therapist who calls me out on my stuff just as much as I try to be that for other people. And
Hmm.
so I make sure that I have that tune up as well to make sure that I'm taking care of myself also.
Awesome. Okay, next question. So, what role does community play in your healing journey? Like you've talked about, you
Mhm.
have your own circle, your therapist is part of that. But what role, like when we talk about community, like even Love Bay as a community, but what role does community play in that healing journey?
Yeah. I think personally, like community is everything. I find that especially, I mean, in my culture and our cultures, we heal in community. We don't heal in isolation. And
Hmm.
so I know that even as a human, I'm made for connection. We're
Hmm.
all made for connection. We'll actually lose our mind if we're in isolation for too long,
Yeah.
right? And so recognizing that, I make sure that I tap into that, even when, because as you know, Dr. Tapo, like even like depression, we want to isolate ourselves. When we have issues, we want to isolate ourselves, and so I do my best to be intentional to go against that feeling, even when
Hmm.
it comes up, that
Hmm.
I'm reaching out to, even if it's just one person or even if it's just my therapist, I am reaching out
Yeah.
for connection. When I feel like I want to isolate myself, I'm going to be in community. It's
Hmm.
going to, like I go to church, if I go to my own church service, just to make sure that I'm tapping in with other
Yeah.
people or I'm reaching out. So, yeah, I avoid isolation like the plague. And I make sure that, I am connecting with others because I
Hmm.
think that it's important, especially our cultures. We are not individualistic, you
Yeah.
know? So,
I hear that.
hmm
Okay, so how can we teach the next generation? Although, to be honest, I feel like they're teaching us. But how do we teach each other that healing is mandatory, not something to hide, not something to sweep under the rug? How do we? I mean, we talk all the time about stigma. Like
hmm
the most case, I would say 9 out of 10 times when people talk about mental health, the word stigma comes up,
hmm
especially in Black and racialized communities.
Yes.
Stigma. But
hmm
how do we teach each other that healing is mandatory and you don't have to hide it?
Yeah. I think first, being okay with discomfort. Because
Hmm.
I think because of discomfort, we try to push it under the rug. We try to sweep it under, like, oh, that's awkward. We need to get away from it. But if we can actually make space and room for each other's emotions and feelings, and it's okay if someone's having a bad day, it's okay if they talk about it, right? I think that sometimes we just want to wish it away like you're fine.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
sometimes things are just not okay.
Yeah.
Right? And being okay with that. And I think another aspect is living it by example.
Mhm.
When we can show each other that it's okay to take care of our mental health, it's okay
Mhm.
for us to talk about it. It's not something that we have to run away from or hide, because we all experience it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? We all experience stress. We all experience some levels of anxiety. We all
Mhm.
experience low days, right? And so it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to make space for it.
Okay, thank you for that. So you can text, you can email, you can comment wherever you're listening, if it's on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever you are. What's our number? 437 Yes, I finally got it.
You got
Without looking.
it.
Okay, so reach out to us. We are on WhatsApp as well. Our country code is one for Canada. I always have to say, not one for US. We are a different country. So text, send us your comments. Welcome, Felicia, because
Thank you.
this is your new host for the Mental Health Hour. Very exciting.
Thank you.
Okay, and while you're at it, remember our love based scholarship drive.
Yes.
Remember that when you invest in someone's education, you're
Mm,
planting a seed that grows into generational change.
mm,
So please log on to lovebayradio.com. If you're using PayPal, it's at Love Bay Radio on PayPal. You can also, if you want to donate and use a different means, you can text and we'll let you know the best way to transfer that money for our scholarships that we're giving out on July the 12th. So you've got plenty of time. I feel like how many paychecks is that? If you're paid bi weekly, you have like about 8 opportunities. When that money hits your account, put aside 20, 50, $100 for love-based scholarships.
mm,
They really, really do make an impact. They make a difference. Okay, so healing is mandatory.
mhm.
Healing is mandatory.
Yes.
Okay, and this show, the Mental Health Hour, has always been a space for truth. So thank you to that listener who commented on
Yeah.
our honest conversation. Thank you, Dudley Mayers. Dudley Mayers, for tuning in, for listening in. And so the Mental Health Hour has always been a space for truth.
Mm,
It has always been a space where we encourage that self examination. I've done some sessions where we're looking at tools for measuring your mental health,
mm,
tools for knowing where you at. Some advice I always offer is when you wake up in the morning, don't just grab your phone, don't just jump out of bed, don't just, but take a moment.
mm.
One of the questions we ask as therapists: when you sleep, do you wake up feeling rested? This
Yes.
is a question we ask all the time.
Mhm,
And a lot of people don't know because they don't know because they don't pay attention.
mm,
As soon as you're up, you're on Instagram, TikTok, whatever your social media, your favorite social media platform is. Mine personally is Pinterest. It's hilarious. I like it. But take a moment when you wake up. Am I feeling rested? Something
mm,
that simple can really, really make a difference. And so the mental health hour has
mm.
always just been this space where we offer each other tools like that,
Yeah.
where we really drive home the importance of healing, the importance of seeking help when it's needed, not if you have time or if, but when it is needed. And for most of us, we need it a lot,
Mhm.
right? But we tend to push things away and neglect our health and neglect our peace and neglect our joy and
Mhm.
neglect our important relationships.
Yeah.
So here's Felicia,
Mhm.
and Felicia, let's make a commitment, right?
All right.
So you have your plan
Mhm.
for the mental health hour, really great and exciting plan. Like I wish I had thought of that.
It's okay, girl. I'm gonna have you back. Don't worry.
So what is your commitment to folks? A commitment that you're making to them, but that you would like them to make to
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
We're taking some time to, this is a new relationship.
Yes.
And we're already past the defining the relationship. She's
Yes.
your mental health, our host. What is the commitment?
Yeah. I think my commitment to all the listeners is to be real. I want to be real because that's what we need. We don't want the fluff. We
Yeah.
want the real hard talks. And so
Yeah.
I promise to bring that. And again, I think it's important to bring not only just my voice, but just other voices from our community because, again, it's not about an isolation thing. We're not an island.
Mhm.
And I,
Mhm.
I acknowledge that, right? So I promise to bring you quality people, right? So that we could have those conversations that we need to be having, not
Mhm.
only for us, but as Dr. Tapo, you mentioned, our future generation, right?
Mhm.
Because I know my kids are growing up so fast.
Mhm.
Like I blink and now their voices are getting lower and I'm like, what is happening here? I was like, hi mom. I'm like, oh no. Right. And I know that I have to um, pave a way for them to make sure that
Mhm.
they know it's okay to take care of their mental health.
Yeah.
Right? So we're building a legacy and we're building it together,
Yeah.
right? And so that's my commitment. And I'm hoping that the listeners will, just continue to tune in, tell
Mhm.
somebody about it, because, knowledge is power and we need to share this power with other people. And if there's something that you want to talk about, let me
Mhm.
know. And
Mhm.
again, I'm not an island. I want to hear from you. What are the things that you wish someone would talk about? What are the questions that you have? Right? And if I don't know, I'll find somebody that knows. So,
Okay. So, what commitment are you asking of your listeners?
yeah, I think above everything, above telling people about it, above sharing that knowledge, right? Just
Mhm.
be open. There's going to be times that some conversations are going to really challenge you and really challenge some of your mindsets, right? Obviously, take everything with a grain of salt, right? But also be open,
Mhm.
right? Because, you know, nobody knows everything. I don't know everything. Dr.
Yeah.
Tapo, as amazing as you are, you don't know everything, right? We're always learning, but we're learning together in
Mhm.
community, right?
Mhm.
So I think just being open, come hungry for knowledge,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
think that that's also important,
Yeah.
right? And yeah, also to just share with me what you want to talk about because again, I want this to be relevant
Mhm.
to the listeners, and so I'm all ears also.
Awesome. So, tune in, interact. Like one of my favorite things has always been reading the messages that come through when
Yeah.
people have questions, when people have comments, when people one message that I I always kind of laugh to myself when I recall we were talking about um alcohol misuse, alcoholism, and all that. And
Mhm.
um, one listener wrote in and said, "I can tell you don't drink because I think I got the percentage of alcohol
Mhm.
in a beer or something wrong." One one listener wrote in and said, like, "I can tell you don't drink because," and then they broke it down for me. Like, so it's always nice
Yeah.
when people listen, when people engage, when
Yes.
people respond, right?
Yes.
I think it's great that you'll be inviting guests. I didn't do that. So
Mhm.
the entire 3 or 4 years or however long I've been doing the mental health hour, it was mostly me talking for an hour. And people who know me in other spaces know I like to keep it short.
Mm.
So for me, it was a major point of growth to be able to talk for an hour
Yeah.
nonstop
Yeah.
about mental health. But what really, really helped was people writing in, sending in their messages, because then I felt like, okay, I'm being heard,
Yeah.
right? I'm not just speaking to myself or speaking into the stratosphere. I'm speaking to actual human beings,
Yeah.
and we are building something together. So, to
Yes.
all of our Love Bay listeners and family, stay engaged, communicate with Felicia,
Yes,
text her,
please.
send those comments, like her videos, her Instagram, her wherever it is that you access. Like it's just nice to know you're there and
Yes.
that you're listening, and the
Mhm.
things that we are talking about, like Felicia said, are relevant to you.
Mhm.
um it's it is a huge responsibility, because I know that a lot of people have written in from different parts of the world and said things
Mhm.
like there's no therapists where I live, or
Mhm.
people in my area, village, country, whatever, don't really understand mental health.
Mhm.
And so for some people, this is their access to information that helps them improve their mental health. And I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Again, so much thanks to the people who drive Love Bay Radio. I
Yes.
mean, like, all of them are, in my opinion, superheroes for doing this. It is
Mhm.
a much, much needed platform, not just for the mental health hour, but all of
Yeah.
our shows. It's just a
Yes.
space where, and it's fun.
Mhm.
It's absolute fun to listen in. You're laughing, you're learning, you are communing with people. So
Yeah.
that's been really great, and I encourage people, keep texting, keep commenting,
Mhm.
keep connecting with the
Yes.
mental health hour, but also with Love Bay Radio.
Yes.
Which brings me back to our scholarship drive. One way to
Yes.
connect is donate, donate, donate.
Yes.
Like I said, we are doing this until July the 12th. You have the opportunity to, in your small way or big way, we don't want, like, if you have the $5,000 we're trying to raise and can just give us a call and say, never mind the drive, here's your $5,000, please do. I think we'll still do the drive, because if you can give us 5,000 and we can raise another 5,000, that means more youth
Mhm.
get scholarships. And what
Yes.
we're really trying to do is support our young people, letting them know that they are not alone. It's about community. It's not your child, it's not your niece or your nephew, but it is a part of your community. uh, there's a word like Black people love to use. Every time people say that word to me, I'm rolling my eyes. If not outwardly, inwardly, I'm rolling my eyes. Can you guess what that word is?
You gotta tell me. You gotta tell me.
Ubuntu.
Yes.
I hear this, like, okay, first of all, I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm
Uh-huh.
Southern African. This is my language, right? I
Mhm.
speak Shona, I speak Ndebele.
Mhm.
Ubuntu is, it's us.
Yes.
I have heard this word said so many times by
Mhm.
people who will, in the next sentence, talk about canceling so and so because if they don't bring you pleasure in your life, you don't need them in your life. I'm like, that's not
Mm.
Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Ubuntu is not only surround yourself with people that please you, People that make, yes, you want to be surrounded by people that make you laugh, bring you joy, and all of that. But
Mm,
some of the people in our circles, that's not their role. They're the people that will call you out, the
mm.
people that you're a spoiled person will not spoil you. And you're there talking about Ubuntu, but you're canceling Auntie so and so because she asked you a question about your questionable life.
Mm.
All right. So why am I bringing Ubuntu up? Because especially in Canada and yeah,
Yeah.
North America generally, Black people love this word Ubuntu. We love it,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
but so many of us are not living it. We are
Mm.
not.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this relevant to our discussion? First of all, Ubuntu is donating to the Love Based Scholarship Drive. That's what it is. It's
Mm-hmm.
seeing a need and feeling that need by whatever capacity you can. That's what
Mm-hmm.
Ubuntu is. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just the rich people that give when we're talking about Ubuntu. I grew up in Zimbabwe. I know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. When
Mm-hmm.
somebody dies, neighbors 10 doors down, maybe they never said a word to you. They
Yeah.
only ever waved. Somebody has died in your household. They are
Mm.
going to come. They will help with the cooking. They will give a little bit of money. They become part of that. You don't need to ask.
Yeah.
That is Ubuntu.
Mm-hmm.
When a baby comes into the family, you're getting gifts and hand
Yeah.
me downs and food and all the that is Ubuntu. It's not
Yeah.
about how close we are. It's not about do you know me or not. It's
Mm-hmm.
there's a need, and whatever little I can do to fill that need, I'm going to.
Mm-hmm. That's powerful.
So those of you and you know yourselves, you love throwing that word around. Here's an opportunity to actually practice what you preach. Give to
Mm.
the Love Bay scholarship drive.
Yes.
Give to these young people, lighten their load a little bit.
Yeah.
Have you ever used the word? Come on, Felicia. Have you ever used the word Ubuntu? Come
I,
on.
no, but I guess the spirit behind Ubuntu, I would say that I definitely talk about, but the word no, so I'm off the hook.
Okay, okay, you're off the hook. So tell me about like your take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely love that you talked about that connection piece and helping to meet the needs of other people in our community. Because that's what it is. And I think
Mhm.
that's why when a lot of us, migrate to Canada, so my parents migrated here from Jamaica, it
Oh.
feels so lonely
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
because they miss that Ubuntu. Where
Mhm.
I just remember my parents talking about, man, if we were hungry, we'd just go to our neighbor and ask them for a breadfruit off the
There it is.
tree. And,
Yep. Yep.
the person two streets down would have the aki and
Mhm.
then we come together and we cook and
Yeah.
nobody goes hungry,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But I
Yeah.
feel like we lose parts of that, especially here in Canada. It
Mhm.
becomes a lot more separated,
Yeah.
a lot more separate.
Yeah.
Everybody's all for themselves,
Yeah.
and that's how we learn to survive.
Mhm.
But what does it look like to reintegrate that?
And you're talking about Ubuntu, and then your mother-in-law knocks on your door without making an appointment, and you're asking her what is she doing there. But you're the same person who's talking Ubuntu. To me, that's just crazy. That is weird. So honestly, when people use the word Ubuntu, I am rolling my eyes, if not outwardly, definitely inwardly, because I'm
Yeah.
thinking if a person that you did not invite to your house turns up at your door, what is
Mm.
your reception of them, right? How are
Mhm.
you receiving them? How are you meeting their need? We now have this thing where if you want to come to my house, first call me and let me know because me and mine, we have our lives, we're busy, and then at
Mhm.
the same time you're talking Ubuntu. Like
Mm.
I get that things have changed, things are different, and like you
Mm.
said, a lot of us are immigrants, some first generation, some we are the immigrants ourselves,
Mm.
several generations, maybe whatever it is. But we are losing that Ubuntu. We really
Yeah.
are.
Mm.
And it interferes with our healing. It really
Yeah.
does.
Yes.
I can remember when my dad died, yeah, I
Mm.
was 17.
Mm.
And I'm not exaggerating that hundreds of people turned up.
Mm. Wow.
We were cooking on a fire outside because there was no way we could cook for everyone
Mm.
in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I don't even know who was cooking. People
Mm-hmm.
organized themselves, figured it out. There were people singing, there were people dancing. We were celebrating this man's life.
Mm.
Neighbors, people flew in from other cities and places. It was just for days.
Mm. Yeah.
Nobody needed an invite.
They just need to step in.
When it got late and some people were tired, they'll just find a corner, pull out a blanket or whatever, and they came prepared with
Mm-hmm.
their blankets and whatever. They would find a corner, rest until they were ready to get up again and be there for people, right? So
Mm.
this to me is Ubuntu.
Yeah.
But we've lost those connections. And that really helped with the grieving process. It actually did.
Yeah.
Because if you've ever lost a parent suddenly, the shock, it is so shocking. It takes time to actually finally hit that this.
Mm.
And I remember being that person
Yeah.
and seeing all these people come and talk about my dad, and the people from his work, people like there was no, you're
Mm.
not allowed to come. There was no, you're not allowed to say a few words. It was just, it really, really helped in
Mm-hmm.
those first days.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, after the burial, people leave and you're left alone. But they've left you with something really, really precious. You
Mm-hmm.
realize that this man, yes, he was my dad and my siblings and my mom's husband, but he was so important to so many other people.
Yeah.
And so we're all celebrating his life. And it
Mm.
made that loss so much easier.
Yes.
This is Ubuntu.
Mm.
People do this for weddings, people do this for like almost anything. People just come and you don't turn them away because who are you? But we do stuff like that here now. I get
Mm-hmm.
it. It's the West, it's expensive, it's this and that, and you don't know. And but Ubuntu at the end of the day is that community, and
Mm.
it's that coming together with or without an invite to
Mm.
lighten the load for other people. And I feel that that is what the mental health hour has been.
Mm.
We've had people writing in about their messy relationships. Oh my goodness. I ended up saying to people like, no, I'm not doing any more relationship stuff because there's a relationship show on Sundays.
Yep.
Send those questions there. And the only reason I did that was there was a lot of it, but
Mm.
there's also a dedicated show on
Mm-hmm.
Sundays on relationships, on marriage, on all of this. But this really Love Bay Radio itself
Mm-hmm.
with Mental Health Hour, and I think it's called the Marriage Hour, if I'm not mistaken. I listen to
Mm.
it. It's at is it 2 or 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoons? So whenever I can, I listen. This whole platform is built on that Ubuntu.
Mm.
And that's why I'm encouraging listeners as Felicia takes over, get in touch, stay connected, send your questions, send your comments, and
Mm-hmm.
lighten the load because it sucks to do a whole hour that nobody responds to.
Like, hello,
Nobody's
anybody
saying
there?
nothing. Nobody's saying any question. And it's like, am I doing something wrong? I don't think so. I think people just need to understand that this is a community and
Yes.
we're here for each other. So I really
Mm,
want to extend this warm, warm welcome
thank
to
you.
you here on the Mental Health Hour.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tapo. I'm so excited.
It's exciting. It is
Yes.
very, very exciting. So we have 10 minutes left.
All right.
I'm trying to decide, should I ask you one more question?
Ooh. Sure.
Um, okay. I have my questions written down, so okay. So here's a question. There's
Okay.
Felicia the therapist. There's Felicia before she was a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
As a therapist now, what mistakes did Felicia before she was a therapist make in not taking care of her mental health?
Girl, why are you going there? Oh.
You saw that pause because I was going to go deeper and I was like, wait, no, let me not do that to her. Let me just kind of like
Mm.
just skim the surface.
Oh man, you went there, Dr. Tapo. Um, I think if I could tell Felicia, who was not the therapist,
Yeah.
anything, I would say, listen, I know that Jesus will fix it,
Mhm. Yeah.
but you could still also be proactive and take care of yourself,
Mhm. Okay.
right? It's a balance, it's both.
Right.
It's not either or, it's both
Mhm.
and.
Mhm.
Because God gives us wisdom,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, obviously, like I mentioned before, my faith is something that is very important to me.
Mhm.
But I really would have leaned in more to with with regards to taking care of my mental health, being more proactive, getting the coping skills and the
Mhm.
mechanisms. I didn't have a true understanding of what that meant. And I didn't really seek it out either because I was like, oh, well, Jesus will fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. And he
Right?
will,
He
but
will. He
there's
will.
also like I'm a
Yes.
Christian too, and something I've often said on the mental health hour as well is some of the things that I don't know if you're like I grew up in the Pentecostal doctrine where
Mm-hmm.
everything is a demon or a spirit or da da da, and so we tend to want to pray things away,
Yeah.
which prayer does work and it does help,
Yes, it
but
does.
not everything is to be prayed away.
Mm-hmm.
Some things take different approaches and
Yeah.
they are no less God healing.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think that that's really important that I mean, if we go to the Bible, even, yes, I'm
Mm-hmm.
starting to preach. Maybe I'll
Woo!
start the preaching hour on
Yes,
one of the
ma'am.
ways. But even when you look at the ways Jesus healed, they were
Yeah.
different. It
Yeah.
wasn't pray all
Yeah.
the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it was, I'll spit on mud and rub it on your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it was just a word, get up. And
Yep.
so imagine if those people, when Jesus said, get up, they actually did not get up.
Mm-hmm.
Would they be healed?
Yeah.
So I completely understand what you're saying. And I think,
Yep.
especially for those of us who do lean quite deeply into our spiritual resources,
Yes.
sometimes forget that there are many tools for healing.
Yes.
Prayer
So
is
many.
one of them, but it's
Absolutely.
not the only one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's multifaceted,
Yeah.
right? Because we could pray for physical healing, but we still should go see a doctor,
Yes.
you know? And
Yes.
so it's not either or, it's both
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And not discounting one over the next. They're both, if spirituality is important to you,
Yeah.
then you tap into that, but also get the help you need, get the skills, get the resources, so you can learn to cope, and
Yeah.
that you could teach the next generation
Yeah.
on how to cope with those difficult things, because life happens
Yeah.
to everyone on the
Yeah.
face of the planet.
Yeah. And you're not a bad believer or bad Christian because you are experiencing depression or anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
It really is an illness like heartburn and cancer and all those other things. I mean, so seek the healing.
Yeah.
Something else, and I'd love your opinion on this, that
Mm-hmm.
I always say is when um, we go to our spiritual leaders for mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts around that?
If they're trained, then sure. If they are not trained, seek them for spiritual things, and leave
Mhm.
the mental health to those that have been trained in mental health services, because they're different. They work together,
Yes.
but they're different.
Thank you so much. And this is something I always say, like, yes, your pastor is anointed of God and all of that thing, but he's not a psychotherapist
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
unless he is
Yeah,
trained. And here's the
absolutely.
thing, I know that for me, one of the things I look for when I seek therapy is a therapist who has
Mm-hmm.
the same belief system.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do that. Like
Mm-hmm.
their actual trained psychotherapists
Yeah,
will offer you mental health support from a Christian or a Muslim or whatever
absolutely.
religion
Absolutely.
background. But the
Mm-hmm.
key thing is they actually do understand what clinical depression is.
Yeah.
They actually do understand if you say to them, I went to the doctor, they diagnosed me with anxiety, and they want me to take this medication, they
Mm-hmm.
can actually give you the right support around that.
Yes. Yes.
Still take a moment to pray with you and all of
Mm-hmm.
that in therapy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there are different types of therapy, but I'm so glad that you and I are on the same page about this.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
go to a licensed, qualified person
Mm-hmm.
for your mental health support.
Yes.
And something I say sometimes is even our loved ones, they mean well, they love us,
Yes.
but they are not equipped. And sometimes, out of that love and meaning well, they actually can make situations worse because they're not the right person to
Yeah.
support you.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a couple of minutes left. A reminder, folks, 437 778 3299. Reach out, find out how you can donate to our Love Bay scholarship drive. $5,000. $5,000. That's what we're trying to raise to be able to support young people going into college and university,
Yeah.
bright young people, hardworking young people who need this opportunity, who deserve that award. So please partner with us at Love Bay Radio to make these scholarships happen. 437-778-3299. You can also donate through PayPal at Love Bay Radio, LUVBAY Radio. Go on our website, lovebayradio.com, for more information on how you can donate. So, Felicia, this is my last 1 minute on the mental health hour.
Yes. Oh.
Oh, you know, it's just been a really, really amazing journey. And I really
Yes.
do appreciate everybody who has listened in, who has sent their comments and their questions. Um, it's just been so amazing, like really amazing, doing this. I have learned a lot myself because often to prepare for the shows I had to do research.
Mhm.
Things that maybe I learned when I was doing my training and I forgot, but also new things, right? Especially one of the things is as therapists, we have to stay updated
Yes.
on clinical aspects, on mental health, on new drugs and
Yeah.
ways people are harming themselves and all
Yes.
of that. So I've learned a lot as a human being, as a therapist, doing the mental health hour. So thank you again to Love Bay's founders, drivers, Love Bay's listeners, and just everybody there. I truly appreciate this time. I welcome Felicia, and I'm leaving
Thank
her in
you.
your hands and you in hers. And I am confident that it's a wonderful relationship that will yield so much within our communities. Be kind to yourselves, be compassionate to each other. Good night, Love Bay.